In this video, we're building and painting a Deredeo Dreadnought. Welcome to the cabin. Today we're doing part 4 of building a Night Lord's Legion for the Horus Heresy. This time we're adding some much needed armored support to the force. Let's get to it. It's been a while since I worked on this army, and I've been meaning to return to this project for quite some time. Recently, my friend Marcus inspired me with the progress on his fantastic looking World Eaters. And we had a chat about the Horus Heresy tournament that will be held at Malmö Wargaming Weekend in October. I became really motivated to finish an army in time for the event, so I ran a poll here on YouTube to ask you all what you think I should paint first. The Deredeo Dreadnought won with close to half of the votes, so naturally that's what I'm going to build and paint today. Or should I say Deredeo? Or Dorito? I don't know. It's really nice to see more and more of these 30k kits being released in plastic. The assembly was quite straightforward and I didn't really encounter any problems. One thing I would like to mention is that sometimes it feels like there are so many small parts to put together. In the original resin kit, each foot was cast as a single piece, but in the plastic kit you have to assemble 10 parts just to build the 2 feet. This is a minor nitpick though, and I'm quite happy with the benefits of having cheaper and lighter kits with parts that fit together perfectly. I used a bit of sprue goo to fill in the gaps, and we recently made a separate video about this, which is linked on screen now if you're interested. I also magnetized the weapon arms because I'm not quite sure which configuration I want for my army. Just like with the Contemptor, the designers have added circular holes that are perfect for magnets, which I really appreciate. Well, while I finish up the assembly, let's take a look at the lore I've written for this Dreadnought. Cue Age of Darkness narrative voice. Little is known about the remembrancer Sail Medon. The only reason her name is not lost among the untold millions of those dark days is because of a Vox record she made during the Great Crusade. It would seem she was attached to the 67th Company of the Night Lords and was granted an audience with the ancient dreadnought known only as Umbra Caedis.
I am humbled to be in your presence, venerable warrior, after waiting 2 years to speak with you.
Your admiration is misplaced, little human.
Please, tell me about your service to the Emperor.
The Emperor dragged me from the prison 6 of my birth and turned me into a monster. I spent close to a century killing in his name alongside my Terran brothers. Even dying would not stop me. Then Curse came along. Every time I awaken now, I find our Legion has fallen ever deeper into madness. Our Primarch is incapable of stopping it. Or maybe he doesn't care. You look shocked. Do you think I feel despair? It matters not how my brothers choose to do their work. Do you think me a traitor? My loyalty cannot be broken. For I do not serve the Emperor, or Curse, or my captain. I serve only death. It matters not who commands me or who my enemies are. Death comes for all. Even you, little human.
Alright, now it's time to paint Umbra Caedis. I used the same approach as before, starting with a silver base and then adding a semi-transparent blue mix, which I like to call Curse Clear Blue. Check out parts 2 and 3 in this series for a complete painting guide. I did try out a few new techniques this time around though. For one, I wanted to test the contrast paint Black Legion instead of Abaddon Black for the weapon panels. I've found that this saves a bit of time since it's already diluted and ready to apply, while still offering great coverage in just 1 or 2 coats. Also, it dries to a very nice and smooth finish as long as you don't apply it too thickly. Looking back at the eye lenses on my older models, I wasn't really happy with them anymore. I think the red hue leans too much towards yellow, making it look orange, especially where it spills onto the blue armor, almost appearing brown. And speaking of that overspill, it looks too dark and a bit haphazard, which doesn't convey enough of a glow. Finally, the actual eye lenses are just one-dimensional red, which is kinda boring. So with the Deredeo, I wanted to try something new. I started by painting watered-down white scar over the entire lens, allowing it to spill over slightly onto the armor. Then I applied Doomfire Magenta all over the white area. As the name suggests, this red leans more towards blue, which I think complements the Night Lord's armor better. To make the glowing effect pop more, I added a small amount of white scar in the center of the lens. Finally, I applied Doomfire Magenta once again, this time diluted with 50% contrast medium so that the tint would not be as strong over the white. I'm quite happy with the results, so I decided to repaint my Mark VI Tactical Squad in the same way. Here's a comparison of the old recipe versus the new one. I think I'll stick with this method moving forward. Once the painting was complete, I decided to varnish the Dreadnought with satin varnish, as opposed to the mix of matte and satin varnish I used last time. Looking back, I felt that the more matte surface dulled some of the metallic sheen on the armor. It looked fine on camera, but in real life it appeared a bit flat. So I went back and applied satin varnish to the older models as well. And with that, Umbra Caedis of the 67th Company was complete. It honestly feels great to be working on my Night Lords once again. As I mentioned, I'd been feeling dissatisfied with some details on the older models, which I think contributed to why I had stepped away from the project for so long. But seeing them all together now, I'm excited to keep adding more units to the army. I should really sit down and put together an army list though. It's good to have a plan, and I already have a few ideas on how I want to run the 67th Company on the table. But more on that in the next part of this series, which should be coming out pretty soon. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and once again, a special thank you to Arnold over on Patreon. If you want to go that extra mile and get some nice perks while supporting us, all our links are in the description below. We'll see you next time. Good luck with your miniatures.